let the technology do the hard work on the back end so that you can interact directly with your customers, with your employees. You can kind of deal with the things that really require that human element where technology can offset a lot of those challenges.
Tell us a little bit about how some of those kind of mismatched data reports can really kind of impact an operator's business.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways. I mean, I think our operators feel it in different ways every day. Like you said, mismatching data. So you go to your point of sale system, which has your churn or your membership data or your GSR information. And then you open up maybe a third party resource that you're utilizing and it has seemingly the same metric, but it's a different number. So how do you reconcile that? How do you know which number is accurate, what to move forward with? How do you make business decisions when you don't have consistent information across the board? So that's something that we absolutely hear. And then, when we think about the end consumer, how is that disconnected technology impacting them? So you brought up kind of mobile applications. So that's a great example because what you do in your mobile app sometimes is not reflected in the point of sale. So a customer expects, one brand, one voice. They don't really care where they're interacting with your brand.
Right.
Everything should be talking to each other. And when it doesn't, it results in a potential poor customer experience. So if they buy their membership in the app and then they go to make a change to their membership, maybe they lost their credit card and they got a new card. They remember when they go on site, oh shoot, I have to update the card. So they ask the employee who's standing there, hey, do you mind updating my card on file? If the employee can't find them in the system, they can't update that membership. That's creating a poor customer experience.
And a lost customer.
And potentially a lost customer. The more that happens, the more it's going to permeate, the more it's going to resonate as a negative customer experience. You only get so many strikes, especially when there's so much competition, so many different options for them now in this space. So yeah, I mean, having these disconnected technologies is something that absolutely we should be bridging the gap on. And in many ways we are, and we'll talk about that, I think, in a little bit. But, it's an experience that you don't want your customer to have.
From DRB's perspective, from your perspective, so how do we move forward? What's our path forward? How do we get operators through the rest of 2025 and thinking about 26?
Yeah, so I think this notion of interconnected technology really comes to the forefront. It's not just a nice to have, it's necessary. Yeah. So you need all of your applications and your tools to be working together and talking together quickly. I mean, practically immediately. So that real time. So that data is syncing and we're making sure that it's providing that positive end consumer experience, that positive customer satisfaction, that journey. It needs to feel seamless, frictionless. And that only happens when you're really utilizing an ecosystem of products that are talking to each other. There's always going to be challenges. Nothing's ever going to be perfect, but minimize that impact as much as you can and let the technology do the work for you. Let the APIs work hard. Let the automations work hard for you. I like to say, set it and forget it. Obviously, not that you want to forget it forever, but there's so many challenges that come into operating your business. Let the technology do the hard work on the back end so that you can interact directly with your customers, with your employees. You can kind of deal with the things that really require that human element where technology can offset a lot of those challenges.
I think I've heard you wrap these up into three different kind of pillars, if you will. So we've got, pillar one would be kind of the act of driving that additional or untapped revenue or kind of maintaining that revenue drive forward.
Yeah.
Membership base or just kind of maintaining membership base would be that third. And then reduction of churn, whether it be talent wise or voluntary member, subscriber wise. So let's start with, let's go revenue, let's go membership base, and then we'll talk about the churn piece. So lead us off with the first one there.
Yeah. So when we think about kind of those three pillars, like you said, retail customers are a third of that pillar. So, I think there's been a ton of emphasis and importance placed on memberships, which of course is going to be, but we don't want to alienate that retail customer who's going to drive that same store traffic, that growth, that recurring revenue in a different way than a membership. There are many customers out there who are never going to convert to memberships, even if they're paying more. There's subscription fatigue, like we've talked about. I mean, how many times do you want to just go into your credit card and cancel a bunch of things? we want to be cognizant that there are a handful, there's a subset of customers who fall into this category, and that's okay. And they're huge revenue drivers. They can be amazing for referrals. We should be nurturing them the same way that we are for a member. So how do we give them the best customer experience? So making sure that the technology on site is doing its work, personalized promotions at the XPT, making sure that we are, showing them that they're valued. Maybe on their 5th wash, they get it for free because they're paying for each individual wash. Upsell them appropriately, but not always. If they've said that they're not interested in a membership after the 3rd time, don't hit them with that again. Make sure that they feel, okay, they heard me. Now we're moving on. I can pay for my wash. Making sure that you are trying to get data from them so that you can reach out and contact them, so that you can give them surprise and delights. You can get them returning for another wash. Try to get them into your loyalty program. So get them to download the app to earn points on all of those purchases. Get them to see the value of your wash, and that every time that they're buying something from you, they can get something free in return. So, these are things that we can really lean into through loyalty points programs, like I said. And what we call proxy members. And this is utilizing pay as you go. So this allows them to put their credit card on file, but they are not getting charged monthly. They are only getting charged every time they come to the wash to wash their car. So it's basically giving them a membership-like experience without the commitment of a membership. So their credit card is saved using LPR. It recognizes their license plate and it just opens, and then they get charged each individual time. So, that's like a win-win for any customer who doesn't want a membership. It's only charging you for when you show up. It's using the technology to recognize you. It's giving you that speedy transaction, frictionless. You know what you want. You have that saved on file, and you go through the lane. So these are the things that you should be providing to your retail customers that's going to give them that optimal experience without pushing them, too hard if they don't fall into that membership segment.